Hello everyone, this is Kenji here. I feel like it's been, I don't know, such a long time since I've recorded my last video. And yeah, I don't even know where to start or how to start. But yeah, about 2 weeks ago, I was diagnosed with cancer after colonoscopy. So for the past few months, I was experiencing some bleeding, like rectal bleeding in my poo, right? And I wasn't really sure because it wouldn't it was never like big pool of blood or anything like that. Usually it would be like a smear of blood, right, in my poop. So I didn't really think too much of it, and I just thought that like it was probably hemorrhoid, right? But this, yeah, it wouldn't go away though, right? It like comes and goes and comes and goes. It just, yeah, it kept like coming and going. So I got a little concerned, but at least like I wanted to get it checked, right? So yeah, I basically like went to my primary care doctor and explained my symptoms, that I was bleeding, and she referred me to the GI specialist who did my colonoscopy. And yeah, 2 weeks ago this GI doctor did a colonoscopy. And yeah, when I woke up after the colonoscopy, came to see me briefly after I woke up, and he told me that he found a tumor, right? And I was confused, right? Like, what do you mean? Like, what tumor, right? Like, what does that mean? And then he was like, it's cancer. And I was like, what? Like, cancer? Like, I just could not process it, right? That moment. And on the way back, I just like was thinking to myself, like, cancer, like how is it possible for me to have cancer? Like, I don't have any family history of cancer. No one of like my relatives, like from my dad's side or my mom's side, they don't have cancer. None of them have cancer. I was very confused. But he told me that they sent him for biopsy, and basically I would have to wait for a result, right? And in the meanwhile, he also placed an order for lab tests, blood work, right? And also for a CT scan. So yeah, 2 weeks ago, that like about 10 days ago, Friday, the following Monday, I went in for a CT scan and blood work. And then the next day, I picked up my blood work lab report came in, and I was able to like view it myself, right, online. And I think the lab, some of the tests he did was for like white blood cell count and red blood cell count, stuff like that. I think it was to check like if there's any, I guess, change or spike of or plummeting of those cell count, I guess, like to check if there's any change in my immune system or immune response, I believe. But there was this one another test that was included, which was CEA measurement, which is basically like a biomarker for cancer. So it shows like how active your cancer cell is. I'm not too sure what that is exactly for, but basically that number was just astronomically high. Like, so it was showing how normal measurement, normal range for people who don't smoke is from should be in the range of 0 to 1, and for smokers it should be 1 to 5, right? So I don't smoke, but my number for that biomarker was 59.7, which is insanely high, right, compared to like the normal range. So I was like really shocked, right? And I kept thinking to myself, man, like if this measurement is this high, which is like a biomarker for cancer, that means like my cancer like should be really, really bad. And I immediately started to think to myself like, probably it's already like at the terminal stage, right? I don't know, like sorry, like it's very hard for me to still really articulate or express myself right now. I'm still a little bit overwhelmed by this news, but yeah, I was very devastated when I saw that number. And I would like go on Reddit, like colon cancer subreddit, and like find any other stories of people having their having that number tested. And there were a lot of people saying how when they were at stage 4, their number was like 5, 6, 7, 10, right? And I was like, man, like mine is 59, almost 60. So like what stage am I if the people that have been diagnosed as stage 4 only gets like 5 to like 7, 8, right? Like mine should be like worse. Anyways, CT scan result came out too, and the report says like they don't really see any sign of spread yet, except for maybe like possibly a little invasion of into my lymph node or rectal wall. But you know, it's a CT scan, so it's not 100% like accurate, right? Sometimes CT scan, it's possible that CT scan doesn't catch everything. I think a CT scan is usually to see the overview of like whether or not there is possible sign of spread. But it's not 100% reliable, and I believe MRI should be more accurate, reliable. But anyways, you know, I going back to that day when I was told by my GI doctor that they had found cancer in my rectum. I shared the news with my family right away, right? And yeah, they were shocked just as I was. And yeah, I guess I was really, I don't know, it was weird because on that day, it's hard to explain that feeling because I was still very confused, and it was still very hard for my brain, I guess, to process that had cancer in my body, right? So I didn't really cry on that day. I just didn't know what to make of it. Um, but I think my youngest sister, she cried and stuff on that day. But my parents, they I think they seemed to take it okay. They said that like I'm still young and I can fight it, right? Um, that I guess that cheered me up maybe a little bit, but then again, like I just couldn't process the information. Like I couldn't really internalize it, right? Like I feel like I was kind of dissociating too. Maybe like partly denying the fact that I had cancer. But then, so that was Friday, about 2 weeks ago. And then this, when the Saturday came around, that's when I feel like when it really started to sink in, right? Um, I think Saturday I could feel like I start to feel really, really anxious and nervous. And you know, I am a I consider myself to be a very anxious person to begin with. I'm definitely more anxious than the average population for sure. And a lot of times, yeah, I have experienced a lot of anxieties, right, for certain situations. But this this level of anxiety, like this, it's just nowhere near the anxiety I've ever experienced before in my life. It's like anxiety at a whole another level. And yeah, just like my heart, I could feel my heart like literally like just sink like over and over throughout the day, right? And I don't know, like immediately, I guess my perception about life, it just instantly just flips, right? And you know, all these things I used to care about, used to worry about, and they didn't really seem to matter at all anymore, right? You know, I just began start to begin my career like last year, you know, and I yeah, I was pretty excited to start my career. And in my other video, like I shared how this is like the very first job I've ever actually had that um gave employees like us the chance to um put money in our 401k, right? So it was like, yeah, last year or beginning of this year actually was the very first time for me to actually open my 401k account. So I was feeling pretty excited about how, yeah, I'm fine. It felt like I'm finally like getting on my feet, right? I've struggled a lot in my 20s, and in my early 30s I was pretty lost and not really knowing what to do with my life. I was very confused. um I was really lost. I spent like most of my 20s and 30s just in depression and a lot of anxiety. I wasted a lot of my youth, yeah, just withering away pretty much, right? But finally it felt like I'm getting back on my feet and I'm doing something productive, something meaningful for myself. And then now I get diagnosed with cancer. You know, what a life, right? And just, yeah, like I said, you know, just now, like, when I think about that before, I don't know, it seemed like I could maybe like start thinking about dealing with later in my life, maybe when I'm like in my 60s or 70s or 80s, right? You know, it was this concept that was so distant from, I guess, core of me, right? Because I'm still fairly young, right? And it felt like I still have a lot of many years ahead of me until I can seriously start to consider or think about death. But now that I am diagnosed with cancer, death is no longer a concept that I can think of or treat as distant from now, right? You know, death, my own mortality now really feels like it's right in front of me. Like I'm dealing with it now in this moment. It's not something I can like just keep pushing it off or keep putting it off until I actually think about it or until I get there, right? When I get old. Like it feels like, yeah, I'm at like on the verge of facing my own mortality and just being gone from this world. Oh, by the way, this is clove tea. I don't know. I looked up online and it was saying how I asked ChatGPT and it was saying how like green tea and clove tea and some mushroom tea, mushroom powder is like supposed to be really strong antioxidant and good to fight cancer. So that's why I'm drinking it. Where was I going with this? But yeah, so like that Saturday and Sunday, I just stayed home. I was in my room and I guess just really getting anxious and nervous and really extremely um worried about like what's gonna happen, right? Am I gonna live? Am I gonna survive this? Um and yeah, I started crying, I guess, like for a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. That made me feel a little better after I cried. Also, I pray to God too. It's funny because I grew up as a Christian. My mom and one of my sister, they're really religious. They are really devoted Christians, and I think at one point in my life, I don't know, I had some faith in God, but I walked away from him, right? Because, I thought like I didn't need God. I I was fine without God, right? I felt like I could just handle stuff on my own. And in a way, I felt like I had control over my life. I didn't need God. But that moment, like when I think about, or I'm facing my own mortality, immediately I get really scared, right? Like, what if there is hell, like the Bible says, right? The eternal burning in hell. That scares me to no end, right? And basically, I pray to God that to give me strength to move through this chapter in my life, and to give me the courage to keep pushing this battle. Yeah, so after my biopsy report came out, I went back to the GI doctor. So I went back to him last week. I saw him, and he confirmed that it is cancer. Biopsy report shows it's cancer. So he referred me back to my primary care doctor, and now I have scheduled an appointment for to get an MRI scan, also to see an oncologist. Also, I'm scheduled to see a surgeon. Also, I'm scheduled to see radiation specialist. So that's where I'm at right now. So they still haven't. They told me that I will need an MRI scan to confirm what stage my cancer is. So yeah, that's where I stand with this journey now. I actually thought a lot about whether or not I should even disclose this, right? Make a video about this. But this channel is about, the whole purpose of this channel was to talk about my journey, talk about the positives and negatives of life, and to talk about how we can grow together, right? How we can thrive together. So yeah, I just wanted to share my story, where my life is going or has taken a turn right now. I thought that maybe it might give some people some, I don't know, it might resonate with some people. It might give some people hope, some courage. I'm not a courageous person per se, but I don't know, every day I guess I want to build up that courage, right? But man, like I'm scared. But my family has been really, really supportive. They've been great support. So yeah, I will continue hopefully making more videos about my journey with cancer, and hopefully I'll survive. Right? Thank you for watching. If you have watched up until this point, and have a great day or a great night. Thank you. Bye.